Welcome back to Quran Book Club. We are on Surah 7, Al-Araf, the Heights. I was originally going to make this two different videos, but I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. This is in reference to the Pharaoh story, the three events of like the non-believers who were sent prophets and they didn't believe the prophets, and then they were met with ultimately demise. And also, I got to the first mention of Prophet Lot, and the LGBT, and let's get into it. Now, obviously, as an LGBT, I understand that we might have some conflicting viewpoints. I am not trying to say that my viewpoint is right or that your viewpoint is right. I am just commenting on what I've read. I still have regardless of what I read about gay people in this book, I still will have no ill will towards any Muslims. Like I said, honestly, a lot of people are saying that Muslims do not care what you do. It is not their job to judge you. It is God's job to judge you, and God's job only. So I like to think that nobody is judging me or hating on me for being transgender, and I am not judging or hating on anybody for anything either. So let's keep it respectful, but let's also discuss it because let's get into it. So this is my first time reading the Pharaoh story. I've heard of it vaguely. It's my first time actually reading it in a book. I never read it in the Bible or the Torah. So before Lot, it seems like there was the story of Noah's Ark. I'm familiar with that one vaguely. I haven't read it, but I know it. And the people did not believe Noah, and Noah got on that boat with those animals and sailed off, and they all died in the flood. Prophet was sent. You didn't listen. You didn't believe. You met and ultimately demise. Makes sense to me. Then we get to Prophet Lot. It says, verse 80 through 84, I'm just going to read it straight. And remember when Lot scolded the men of his people, saying, "Do you commit a shameful deed that no man has ever done before?" 81, you lust after men instead of women. You are certainly transgressors. 82, but his people's only response was to say, "Expel them from your land. They are a people who wish to remain chaste." 83 and 84, so we saved him and his family, except his wife, who was one of the doomed. We poured upon them a rain of brimstone. See what was the end of the wicked. Now, before commenting on the lusting after men comment, this to me sounds, and from what people were explaining the story of Prophet Lot in my other comments before, to me it sounds like the same kind of vibe. A prophet was sent to you. You were living in a culture of immorality for whatever reason, because there's a third story after with the children of Israel, I believe. You did not listen to the Pharaoh, or you did not listen to the prophet. I'm sorry, because I'm talking about the Pharaoh. You did not listen to the prophet, and you met and ultimately demise, which this time was raining brimstone. I'm not sure what brimstone refers to, if that's fire or stone or both. But, I mean, to me it's the same vibe. That is pretty self-explanatory. If you don't believe in the prophets, then you need to stand on business when you're met on Judgment Day, as I said previously. Don't sit there and go, "Oh, well, we would have believed if da-da-da. Oh, I'm sorry for not believing." No, you didn't believe. Like, I am not trying to fight nobody, but I'm choosing personally not to agree with the statement of, "Do you commit a shameful deed that no man has ever done before? You lust after men instead of women. You are certainly transgressors." I honestly, personally, we'll get into that. I don't really rock with that statement a whole lot. However, if on Judgment Day, if I'm standing there in front of God and he says, "You were gay and you knew that was bad," I'm not sure what I'll say. I would probably hopefully say something along the lines of like, "You know what? Yep. Sorry. You gotta stand on business on Judgment Day." I'm not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, well, I would have been gay if I had read the Quran before I knew I was gay." I honestly probably would have still done it. Honestly, probably still would have transitioned. That's a separate conversation for a different video. I do want to talk about transgender and spirituality, but anyway, how do we all feel as Muslims? I'm curious. Well, I guess let me not say we, I guess. How do all of you feel on this comment of "You lust after men instead of women, you are certainly transgressors"? I believe that there is supposed to be more on Prophet Lot, so maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions here. But I don't know. It's what the book says. So, and I'm not even hating on Muslims because they say something I believe similar to that in the Bible. Most religions I've met are not always the most LGBT friendly. So I'm not hating. I'm still rocking with the Muslims. I don't know. That was the first the very first scripture I'm on page 82. It's the first verse that I read that I was like, I'm just saying, like, just being honest and open. I'm an open book. You can ask me anything, I'll answer it. Now I want to get into this prophet story with the children of Israel. It's, again, the same thing of, we sent you a prophet, you didn't listen, you didn't believe, and you met an ultimately demise. Simple enough. However, it's a little shocking that you didn't believe the first time. Moses comes, and they say to show proof of God, or show proof of whatever. He puts his staff down, and it turns into a snake. To me, that's crazy. I would have been looking at that like, So, I don't understand how you can not believe after that. That's kind of like a lot, Then they call all these magicians, to like prove Moses wrong. The magicians do their thing and they're like wowing the crowd. And then Moses makes all of the magicians' illusions disappear. And some people side with Moses and some people are still with the Pharaoh. I'm like, if you're going to believe or not, like, how would you not at that point? Like, if I literally watched someone do that, I would be like, whoa. And listen, I'm not trying to be like these people, because I am low-key hating on the people who are like, I would need to see proof of this, I need to see proof of that. I don't need to see proof of anything. I make my own decisions, and I will face God on Judgment Day and honestly, I haven't finished the book, so we'll see how I feel at the end of the book. But you cannot just keep asking for signs and God and be more and more and more and more and more demanding. It does not work that way. Like, you cannot make God prove himself to you. You need to either believe or not believe in God. That's your choice, but you cannot be like, he needs to do this and then I'll believe. Who are you to tell God what to do? Who are you to tell God what to do? Who am I to tell God what to do? If this perhaps may be the definitive word of God, and perhaps God really did say, you lust after men instead of women, you are certainly transgressors. Who am I to tell God what to say and what not to say? I can choose to believe or not believe what he says, but who am I to tell God what to do? I can't tell God what to do, neither can you. It's God's choice to judge people. This verse drove me crazy. 138. We brought the children of Israel across the sea, and they came upon a people devoted to idols. They demanded, "O Moses, make for us a god like their idols." What? Moses replies, "Indeed, you are a people acting ignorantly. What they follow is certainly doomed to destruction, and their deeds are in vain." He added, "Shall I seek for you a god other than God?" Which, how is Moses supposed to create a god? He's saying that there is a God, the one true God. That's what Moses is saying, if I'm not mistaken. How are you going to tell him to create a god? What? That's crazy. Then 148, the golden calf. In the absence of Moses, his people made from their golden jewelry an idol of a calf that made a lowing sound. Did they not see that it could neither speak to them nor guide them to the right path? So they took it as a god and were wrongdoers. What is going on with these people? I don't understand how you can just create something and then claim to... That's a little crazy to me. Now, when I read this, I was like, whoa, full circle moment. Because the other couple weeks ago, I did go to a synagogue with my friend who is Jewish. And it was for a Jewish holiday. And they actually were reading that specific part of the Torah about how the children of Israel, went away from God and were... idolizing false prophets, and that God punished them and judged them for it. Which I thought tied into some global things going on, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. But again, could you just create an idol and then claim that that is your God? To make an idol of your God is one thing, and I know that the Quran disapproves of that, but other religions choose how you may. But to create your own God that's crazy to me. I don't know. And then finishing off 203. If you, O prophet, do not bring them a sign which they demanded, they ask, why do you not make it yourself? Say, I only follow what is revealed to me from my Lord. This Quran is an insight from your Lord, a guide and a mercy for those who believe. Quit demanding things from God. That is driving me nuts. Again, who are you to tell God what to do? Who are you to tell God, if you do this, I'll believe? And honestly, I've heard things like that, don't do that, from Christians at Christian church, and I agree with it then. Who are you to tell God what to do? You either believe or you don't. Either you see the signs that are there or you don't. Either you read the book and believe what it says or you don't. But you cannot just tell God, if you make this tree fall down, I'll believe. That's crazy to me. Either believe or don't. we're at 10 minutes.